Hi, and welcome to my All About Me documentary, which is actually not about me. It's about my maternal grandfather, William Scott Cook. I chose because he lived through a lot of important events in our history, so I thought it'd be good to study. He was born and raised Erie, Pennsylvania, on a street very similar to this one, a middle-class neighborhood in Erie, Pennsylvania. Not the exact place, but similar. It can get extremely cold there, as you can see. This would be a typical January, February scene. The winters were fairly long. And of course, there's another scene. You have people out there, snow shovels, and just snow everywhere. And it made my grandfather actually hate the snow a lot. He couldn't wait to get out of there. This is a shot of Erie during the summer. It's, of course, a different place. My grandfather, more than anything else, loved playing baseball. He played with his friends in the street, like this kid is here. He gained a love for baseball. He found out he was good at it. And that was a more common thing then, just kids playing out in the street, playing baseball. Later in his childhood, the family got a radio, which was their main source of entertainment for a while. Of course, no TVs then. But then the stock market crashed, 1929, set off the Great Depression, and that went on for a long time. You can see here one of the soup kitchens that were in use at that time. You have a lot of kids here, hungry kids, just barely getting by. My grandpa's family, they did okay. They lost some jobs, but they made it through. It was a struggle, but they made it through. And my grandpa, meanwhile, had ambitions of being a pitcher, like this guy here. He was all set to enter the minor leagues, actually, until December 7th, 1941, when the Japanese attacked us at Pearl Harbor, drawing us into World War II. The upper left-hand corner, you can see my grandpa with his induction photo. The others are just some photos from his childhood. I'll shut up for a minute, let you listen to this.
These men are aviation cadets. A short while ago, they too were average American boys from average American families. In the near future, they will have learned many things. How to pilot a plane, how to navigate, or how to operate a bomb site. If you're 17, you can enlist in the Air Corps Reserve. You'll be called to training soon after your 18th birthday. Men between the ages of 18 and 26 can go into training immediately. There are things to do and places to go, and the Army Air Forces will supply both to healthy, adventurous, and patriotic young men with a will to smack the enemy where it hurts the most. Stop on your way out at the box.
So that's just basically what recruitment and training was like for soldiers at that time. My grandpa was a mechanic. He worked on B-17 bombers like this one. And then spring of 1945, the war in Europe is over. The Nazis have been defeated. And you have a lot of GIs because of that going home, like this guy. This isn't my grandpa, but it would look very similar to this. Just arriving home from the war. And there was a movie made around this time called The Best Years of Our Lives, one of my grandpa's favorites, which was about soldiers coming home from the war, and I believe won a Best Picture Oscar. My grandpa's also a big fan of the band leader Glenn Miller, who did big band music, kind of like these guys. Kind of a jazzy kind of feel to it. You could dance to it. My grandpa was a good dancer back in the day. And here's just a few shots of swing dancing at that time. Meanwhile, around the same time, my grandpa was eligible for the GI Bill, which he could use to go through school for free. So he took advantage of that. Decided to go to school at Cal Berkeley. He'd heard good things about it. And he matriculated there, got his degree, and he fell in love with the place. This is a shot of the Golden Gate Bridge over the bay. And my grandpa, he just fell in love with the weather. He liked the people. He liked the cultural diversity. And so he decided to stay in the Bay Area. And that's where my family is from. Here's another view of Berkeley in the late 40s when he would have been there. He graduated with a degree in engineering, a systems engineer. And he worked for the Westinghouse Electric Company for a long time. These are some of the other engineers at that time at Westinghouse. And my grandpa's #1 hobby has always been model trains, like these here. Some of which I still have. And also, his biggest passion was baseball, and he passed that on to me. And I'm glad he did. And it's part of our good relationship.